The candidates for secretary will now have 2 minutes each to give a short post, starting on my left with Benedict.
Hello, thank you very much for coming. So when it comes to Saturday, I'd really advise you do anything, don't vote for Rob. I hear he's a pretty Weasley character. So thank you very much. That is the level of joke you can expect from my fortnightly emails as secretary. So thank you very much. So yeah, so I'm Benedict, hello. I'm the bike rep currently. So I took that role about a year ago. And in that time, I've been responsible for setting up and formalising the email process, the sign-up process. We've set up partnerships with OFO bikes, and then when that didn't quite work out, I set up a partnership with Beijing bikes. And the scheme seems to be going really well, and I feel like it's in a place where I can give it to my other trusty bike rep Seb, and I'd like to try and help JCR in another way. So I'm currently the secretary of the Oxford Geography Society. Over the last 2 terms, we've seen membership increase by about 60%, so it's been a really good time. And I've been quite involved in the process of increasing engagement. So that's what I want to make the focus of my campaign as such. If anyone wants to see my minute-taking abilities, you can see my Google Docs later. But what I really want to focus on is engagement, not just in terms of pure numbers, but I think we can make the sessions more engaging as well. So using voting, which will appear on the screen, live minuting, live streaming. I want to have a little experiment and see if we can make JCR meetings more interactive. So we all saw last week at the JCR meeting how when Stephen brought all that food along, it was fantastic and the turnout was amazing. So I'd like to see every JCR meeting we try and get different people to bring in foods that's ethnically important to them or just important to them in general. And I think that will really help to increase the experience of the JCR meeting, make it more of a holistic experience. So yeah, so I really appreciate your vote as secretary. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Benedict. And now we've got 2 minutes for a speech from Adam.
I have to steal my general focus. So I'm Adam, I do English and French, I'm a fresher. I want to run firstly because it's a really good opportunity to give a lot back, which is horribly, horribly cheesy, I know, but it is my main. I'm excited for the potential of doing that. But in addition, it's quite well placed to try and do things about general, not quite engagement, but general participation within the JCR, which if like looking at tonight, there are so many empty roles, I think that's something we might want to start doing something about. I think that Secretary is quite uniquely placed for that because of looking at all the kind of administrative tact they disseminate, all the emails and things, they're effectively the most frequent by time point of contact between the JCR and the undergrad body. So I think you may think it's minor, but I think it actually plays quite a big role, the secretary, in terms of how the JCR is generally perceived, how it's kind of sold, and if you play your cards right, you could actually boost participation, just change the general experience of it. So to that end, things that I'd want to do is something like small regular things like minute taking summaries and general contact. Obviously disseminate it very quickly, but also make it a lot more accessible. Also something like the Constitution or things like that. Try and focus on cutting down bureaucracy there and keeping it very simplified and accessible. A lot of freshers have the perception that the JCR is just this kind of long-winded exercise in bureaucracy, which if we pretend for a few minutes that it's not that, we can maybe try and spin this the right way so people can see actually all it really boils down to is just getting more involved in what's already a really nice community. So they might as well. I think that would be my main focus, the thing that I really want to press, and I think that it could actually make a difference. The other thing I'd like to look at, pending what the Constitution allows, is maybe changing the structure of JCR meetings to cut out some of the bureaucratic craft. Thinking about last week or 2 weeks ago, the 5 solid minutes of officer voting through, getting rid of things like that, I think would also go a long way. But in summary, the main focus of what I want to do is just the general perception of the JCR, making a bit of a smoother experience and hopefully getting more people in. Not quite as good as more food, but I think it can make a big difference. Thanks.
Thank you, Adam.
Cass. Will you actually send out the minutes within the constitutionally approved time limit?
What? The question was, will you send out the minutes within the constitutionally approved time limit?
Yes. Actually, I'll say more. I think I'd really like to try and get a live minuting structure going. So what I'd like to do is, I know it's difficult, but if we could get me and then maybe I could elect a rep or something to be typing up as things go along. That would be an interactive thing, and I would make sure. I'm a geographer, so any geographers in the room? Yeah, there. We have a lot of time on our hands, so the minutes will be done. I can 100% guarantee.
Thank you.
Well, to answer your question, yes, depending on how long it is. It's nice, but I don't know how useful having a live anything would be. I don't know if you really want the JCR equivalent of like people not turning up to lectures because it's going to be recorded on WebLearn. But like the thing I'd want to do with that is, like I said, it's a big admin thing, yes, but it's also an opportunity to just have what's on offer with the JCR in a slightly more accessible, perhaps slightly more interesting way that's not a 30-page PDF with some bad jokes spat through it. So I think there's room to work there, but that doesn't quite extend to like Sorry for time.
Thank you. Have we got any more questions for either candidate? None at all? Okay.
Can you tell us a good joke?
Can you tell us a good joke?
You're looking at one.
No.
Rousing answers there. Thank you very much. Any more questions? Cass?
Are you both aware that there is a procedural motion in the JCR that requires you to tell a good joke, and if you refuse, you have to then tell two?
Are you aware about the Secretary tells a joke procedural motion in the JCR Constitution?
Well, I mean, depending on whether or not a good joke is formally defined within the standing policy, I feel like if the wording says a good joke, Joe would have been kicked out and burned in the state long ago. So I feel like it's not the most stringent and enforced thing. I'll do my best.
That was a slanderous comment on my college husband, but I did appreciate it. Well, I already told one fantastic joke in my speech, says one. And then there is a good one I know about a whale, but I think it will blow you away. So, I won't say that. I really hope I'm setting the bar high here, guys.
On that note, are there any more questions? If not, then thank you to both of our candidates. Here I have the candidates for Treasurer, Cass on my left and Noah on my right. We will have a 2-minute speech from each of them. We will start with Cass.
Hi everyone, I'm Cass. I use they, he pronouns, and I'm going to be your JCR Treasurer. I hope you all read my manifesto, which has most of my experience written in it. But for those of you that didn't, I'm actually currently Treasurer of the Oxford Singers, which is a choir that I go to. So I have experience doing this. I've been Treasurer since my first or second term in first year, and I've done that for a while. I'm very good at using Google Sheets and Google Forms. It's basically my entire life right now. So I can do this of those. I'm also a mathematician, so I can work with numbers. A lot of the time I say I don't work with numbers anymore, and that might be true, but I still had to pass A-level maths in order to get here, so I can still do those. In terms of things that I want to do with my treasurer role, I'd like to make sure that the punk club cards have dates on them, because I know that last year there were a couple of issues of going to the wrong boathouse and then getting charged a lot of it, and I think that would be a really good way for people to just make sure that they weren't paying loads for something that the JCR already had. I'd also like to, after reading the auditor's report, I'd also like to go through and update the standard of evidence that is required, because currently the Constitution only references physical things like receipts rather than electronic stuff. And also, the auditor's report also mentions having a clear record of like comments, dates, and exchange rates if you happen to pay for something in a different currency, all of which I'm going to do, and I think I would be very able to properly manage all of this in a Google Sheet. Also, I'm currently the LGBTQ officer, so I actually know quite a bit about how the system already works, how to reimburse things. So I'm not just coming at this from the perspective of, I will be your treasurer, I will make sure that you hand in every single receipt, because I know how difficult that is. Please vote for me.
Thank you, Cass. And now a 2-minute speech from Noah.
It's fun. Hi, for those guys who don't know yet, I'm a first year PPE student, which, much like the geographers, means I have too much time on my hands. I don't have any jokes for you, other than my work ethic, but that aside. I really love the chance to contribute to the JCR. You know, I had a great welcome when I came here. I really loved Freshers Week. As the treasurer, I feel like it's a role that it clearly suits my degree as an econ student. But also, it's just something that you can be quite rigorous, and there's no reason why you can't get everything done really precisely. I think what's something we saw in the audit report actually was that things aren't quite being done as clearly as they need to be, and that's something that we can work on. Other than that, as some of you might know, I'm a musician, which means I have a lot of experience about being mugged off and not paid on time. In that regard, I know really how important it is for people, especially those of us on uni budgets, that we get reimbursed really, really promptly, that we know exactly where our money's going and how it's being used. So I feel like that puts me in a good position to sort of consciously make an effort for the JCR and make sure that everyone gets paid on time, everything is handled thoroughly. I'd really love it if you gave me the chance to take part like this. So yeah, thanks for coming, thanks for your time.
Thank you to both the candidates there. Now, we have 10 minutes for questions. Do we have any questions from the floor for either candidate? Yes.
So obviously we had an incident at the end of last year where some JCR money went missing. So I was just wondering how you would plan to make sure that something like that wouldn't happen again.
This is a question about how you make sure that the incident where the money went missing last year wouldn't happen again. Let's start with Noah.
Yeah. So I think we can probably all agree that the big issue with this is that we've been collecting ENTS funds in a box for apparently 2.5 or 3 years or so. There's quite an easy solution to that, which is that we quickly transfer it directly into the JCR account. The treasurer has the JCR credit card. We can handle this very easily. I feel like this shouldn't be an issue at all. It's really unfortunate that that happened, and it was no one person's responsibility that it did. But as treasurer, we have to take control of that and handle that. So yeah, immediately put it in the bank account. No hard cash lying around to go missing. That's all there is to it.
Thank you. Cass.
It's very important that this incident did happen. I'm not going to blame on anyone. I do think that there needs to be a procedure for ENTS handling cash, because obviously at Bob's you make quite a lot of money from all of the Bob juice, which I don't go to Bob's. And obviously, back to close on Sunday, you can't immediately put that in. I know there's talk of getting a card reader, but that obviously comes with its own issues of like paying upkeep for the card reader for each transaction. But I think as long as there's a procedure that the treasurer and the ENTS team can come to for handing over cash like that in before it gets to such a large amount, and so that it can be paid in a reasonable amount of time, I think that would solve all problems. Also, the safe that is going to be in the JCR that I've heard about could be quite helpful for that.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Yes.
So the JCR has relied on the ENTS officer's liquidity for quite a long time now, with some of our accounts having to have 700 quid out of them for a few days while we file the alcohol. So how can you assure us that you have the time to make sure that these reimbursements are done when they need to be? And do you have the time?
So this is a question about making sure that reimbursements, especially for ENTS officers, are timely. Let's go with Cass first.
Hi, yes, so I do not have way too much free time, given that I'm currently out of schools and also treasurer for everything else, but the JCR always comes first, especially if you spend a lot of money. Also there's talk of a JCR debit card, which could be lent out to the ENTS officers so they can purchase the alcohol needed for Bob's without needing to take a hit to their own account. Yeah, I will pay you in time, especially if it's such a large amount. Obviously, I'm not going to promise you I definitely pay you back within like a day, because that might not happen. But I will promise you that I will do my best to get it done as quickly as possible, especially for small amounts. So with large amounts, you can message me. I'm sure I have the time to do a couple of small reimbursements here or there.
Thank you. No.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I've got too much experience in your position. I've had had to run charity events where I've had to buy everything myself. I've had to rent out equipment for performances. Places that terribly well paying back. I think as treasurer, the really important thing is to keep everything very simple. I have enough time. I will get the money to you as quickly as is physically possible. It just has to be kept under control. I think where it goes wrong is the moment that we start letting things get out of control. One payment is too delayed, everything else gets hacked. So just going to stay focused to make sure it happens.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Yes.
Would you explore ways to move away from cash as a JCR, for example, the investment and buying of a card reader?
Would you explore ways to move away from cash? Let's start with no.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the JCR account needs to be used more effectively, so we don't have cash lying around boxes. I've only been here for not even a full term yet, so I can't claim to know how the entire system works, but I'm trying my best to work that out as quickly as I can. I think what Cass has said makes a lot of sense, and if I'm elected we can look into this in more detail, because having cash lying around is an evident risk, as we saw. So yeah, that's about what there is to it.
Thank you. Yes.
I know that there's quite a bit that the current treasurer and president have done on this matter. I'm not quite sure what stage they're at as it's all happened. I've heard rumours about it on committee, but no real solid leads or anything. I think moving away from cash is a good idea. The only place that I can imagine where we use cash is the charity barbecues in Freshers Week, which is all done within the Freshers Week budget, and also events. I have not been to any events that I can remember that use cash. Other than that, as I suggested, the card reader, although that does come with its own issues of transaction fees that you have to pay to the card reader company for each transaction you make, which on low costs such as bot use might be a very high proportion of that, but that's something that we can definitely look into and see if there's a way that we can work around it.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, if there are no more questions, then can we thank the two candidates? We will now have a short 2-minute speech from each representative. Let's start on my right.
Okay, so as most of you probably know, I was domestic officer for Hillary and Trinity with my sis here. I'd really like to continue doing it. We still have a lot of things that we want to change about guest dinners, so we want to get a wider range of drinks at free drinks. We did speak to the deans about this year, and we're not allowed spirits, but we're kind of thinking just different kind of non-alcoholic, non-spirit drinks. So we haven't been to before, we want to keep increasing this range, but it's not just Prosecco. Also, we want to introduce canapes at Please, because obviously a lot of people have to wait a long time for their dinner, so if we can get a budget increase, we want to have just kind of a few snacks we can just snap on. So yeah, just kind of stop people getting so drunk at the dinner, but also so people aren't so hungry. We also are going to keep looking into issues of the camp bed scheme. There's still a few things we disagree about with college because they kind of want it to be student run, but it's really hard to do that, so we need to find a way that college will continue to let the porters have a role in the camp bed scheme. Sorry. Yeah, that's kind of pretty much it. We've just got some new theme ideas, and we just really love to keep doing guest dinners. So yeah, if you have any questions, Greg's not here tonight, but he's happy to take them, and he said he can post them on the page. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we will have another 2 minutes of Hust from our second candidate.
I'm Georgie, I'm a first year biology student, so we haven't many people haven't seen my face around much. And I'm running with Laura Schofield, who's a first year human scientist. Both of us really kind of love the idea of being domestic officers, just as a kind of stepping stone into the JCR, it's quite like a fun thing to do. I think obviously Oxford's like a very intense 8 weeks, and the kind of things that domestic officers run are such a good kind of way of then getting off a bit of steam. I went to my first guest the other week and it was such a lovely evening. Or I think the camp bed scheme is a really important thing because having your friends from Oxford or family from outside of Oxford even come to visit is such a nice break, I think, from a lot of the time from the same people that you're surrounded by. So I think it's really important that when they come that each of us feels like we can comfortably house them in a way that is run by the college and to make sure that there's enough beds that everyone has somewhere to stay, so that there's not that kind of Friday night JCR Facebook, can anyone lend me a camp bed, that we all seem to get most weeks. I think one thing we'd really like to do is increase the voice of you guys in relation to domestic officers, so having a bit of feedback on guest dinners, finding out what you think works well, maybe ideas of running polls for themes, also working out what time of term would work best for the distribution of domestic supplies. So would you guys rather at the beginning of term, would it be more helpful if they came partway through or near the end? Those sorts of things to find out actually how the really good ideas that are currently in place can be improved. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we have a first question over there. Yes.
Right, so both of you, what the first theme of the next guest dinner?
The question is, what is the first theme of your next guest dinner?
We didn't get that far yet. We just knew that we'd be really, really good at doing it. It's going to be snowy a lot of times. It's going to be January, February, something kind of magically snowy themed, like ice.
Thank you.
So we haven't scheduled what dinners we've got planned, but one idea we really want to do is kind of a Game of Thrones medieval style feast in Hull. And we also are thinking we could do quite a cool underwater style theme potentially. We're also kind of looking at different movies that are popular and just we want to really make the themes big and not just kind of flowers and nice decorations. So yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
What are your views on sort of rumours of corruption and nepotism in the current running of domestic officers sort of jobs selectively for dinners?
What do you think about the rumours of corruption and nepotism in the domestic officers' jobs of selecting people for guest dinners? I think I'll start with yes.
Okay, so I'm not sure if this is aimed at guest dinners or all dinners, probably regarding the Christmas dinner. We have a ballot system. Each group is given a number, and if it's oversubscribed, we randomise the numbers and we go down the list into principal. With Christmas dinner, we had someone do that at 8 o'clock. We went through the lists, and when it stopped, we put up 8 o'clock. These are how it was run before. There's always rumours about people, not doing the guest dinner balance right things. They had it last year, before that. I don't really know what they can do. I think people are very happy when they don't get on the events they want, but it is done fairly, and maybe we can increase the transparency of that somehow, but yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a level of trust in the person that you end up nominating, and I think for the kind of stick that you'd get if it was found out that there was any nepotism going on, you have to trust the domestic officer wouldn't be doing that. Obviously, sometimes people miss out, they get grumpy, they've got to deal with it, and there'll be another guest dinner. The way that I know to one that was great this time is that if you didn't ballot last time, you get a higher priority. If you did ballot and didn't get on, you get a higher priority. That's the way the world works. The school is only big enough for so many people. Everyone will get their turn.
Thank you very much. Have we got any more questions? Yes.
How will you make sure that the campaign scheme is run effectively? It's really great and it's appreciated. I think many people who are fighting campaigns have found that they either will be there or there's one watch you coming or something like that. And it seems like there's a lot of organization. So if you have any ideas of how you can improve that.
This is a question about the camp bed scheme.
Yeah, I think there needs to kind of be a level of I think obviously having more camp beds, obviously we've got to sort out the problem of kind of the confusion at the moment, and so you kind of really know what's going on as to whether kind of how they're going to be run and how it's all going to work. But once that's sorted out, having more camp beds with more camp beds, they're not terribly expensive. So I will obviously help out because people are forgetful, and when it's run by kind of having to trust people coming back and returning things on time, it's never going to be perfect. But if we can make sure that we've got enough supply to meet the demand, then that'll help.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, so there are still a lot of problems with the camp bed scheme in that we spent all of the budget, the camp beds are £50 each because we wanted to get good quality beds that are comfy, don't break, and, you know, like a better long-term investment. And then college started kind of complaining and saying they didn't want the porters to have anything to do with it, so that students would have to go 6 times a day to collect and return the camp beds. So that's why we haven't really looked into getting any more. We did look into a deposit scheme as well, and the porters wouldn't let us do that. So I think what we would like to do is clear over the issues. We've spoken to the porters individually, and they seem to say that it's not a problem for them to be distributing the camp beds. But higher up in college are happy about it. So if we can get college to change their opinion on this, then we can ask for a budget increase, get more camp beds this year, and then hopefully, even if one's not returned on time, there'll be enough that you don't have to miss out or go over to college trying to find a bed.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? At the back. Yep.
Yeah, is there anything you want to add to the domestic calendar? Is there any new event you'd like to do, any new role you'd like to start on?
This is about if there's anything else you want to add to the domestic calendar.
So we would really like to stop having to tell people they can't come to events. So Christmas dinner is really oversubscribed. Obviously everyone wants to go to that, so we would like to talk to college and potentially get 2 Christmas dinners to the JCR, maybe one for finalists and one for second and third years. We'd also like to potentially do a 3rd guest dinner in Michaelmas, because a lot of freshers don't go to the first one, and then I think they're going to hear about it, see it on the day, and then they all back on the second one, and then it's oversubscribed again. So if we could get a 3rd guest dinner in Michaelmas and a second Christmas dinner, it would be really helpful.
I think perhaps I won't into anything on the JCR desserts in 8th week. I think just to kind of need to add on kind of a bake-off style thing to it. It's like a themed week, or also people bring stuff along. Also, kind of more things like that, more slightly chilled events, cheaper events. Kind of possibly working with the kind of welfare and the NTA, the welfare network to get on those sorts of things. I don't see why the domestic officers shouldn't also be involved in those kinds of events, slightly more chilled out and relaxing and low-key than the big dinners, which are obviously quite nice change as well.
Thanks. We have another question, please. Yes.
Do you believe there should be a more equitable system for redistributing guest dinner places in the event that someone is unable to go to that guest dinner?
So should there be a fairer system for redistributing untaken guest dinner seats?
But I think that one is particularly because like once the deposit's been paid, like they're going to lose that deposit. And also if you're paying, you say I was going to guest dinner, I was going to bring a guest, and therefore I'm paying for that guest, then they're not able to come. I think it should be in that person's right to kind of put it out there for whoever would like to take it. Obviously, then if it's the fact that deposit isn't paid, when you get to that point, it's going to be redistributed in the same way that you distributed the tickets originally.
So the current way that we've been doing things is, if it's before deposit's paid, we just go to our waiting list. If it's after deposit's paid, we also go to the waiting list, but we do lose a deposit. This is just because we are having people dropping out really late, and that kind of isn't fair. The problem that we are having is that people are doing it without telling us. So somebody, like a guest can't come, or they can't go anymore, and they don't tell us, in which case we don't know and don't distribute places. What we have been doing is, if we see someone at the dinner, we know not meant to be there, we go and speak to them when we say, you should tell us, but I think maybe we could make it a clearer thing, that you do need to let us know when we need to redistribute the places. I guess that's all we can do when somebody is paying for it. If we don't know, there's
Thank you. I think we've got time for one more question, so do we have a final question? If not, then thank you to both of our panelists. Each side of me will have a 2-minute speech, and we will start on my left.
Well, I'm Harry.
I'm Bridget.
And we're running events. Firstly, I think when Izzy and I took over the role, it was overwhelming, and I think the experience really helps. Having this good working relationship with the junior deans, and that's especially important when we're trying to resolve things about first responders and BOP angels, and all of this is changing from the student union's perspective. So we're still trying to finish a few projects there. The budget we've got down to a T. We're going to have about £100 spare, which is exactly what we want because that's the float we want. And so I've had the experience of managing that this year. In terms of the equipment, we've got new sound and lighting stuff. I love organising. I want to get storage boxes, sort out all the decorations they're used by domestic as well, and for other dinners, Diwali dinner, that kind of thing. And we both love cleaning apparently. This is a new thing we've found. And also admin. As geographers, we don't write essays, we make posters, we colour in. So we actually did that for the last tube, by the way. So I've got loads of time, and I love the admin. It's a lot of work, and I have found it a lot of work, but it has been good fun.
Hi, I'm Bridget. So being like a first year, we feel like we could canvas and cater to more of the JCR's needs. Having just had a great time in Freshers Week, feel like it could be more useful in planning that and knowing what was fun and what people enjoyed. As I mentioned, I like to clean, which is helpful when I'm looking at Volvo on Sunday. I'm a very creative person, so I feel like we could really innovate the themes of BOP and the decorations. And I've got a contact lined up in the cider business to vary BOP juice as well.
Yeah, a few other things. Garden parties, want to do it again. Collaborate with welfare, more bougie soft drinks, snacks and drinks for Love Island and all that, because it was great, etc. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now to my second pair of candidates. 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Stevie. This is Sam. We're both second years, and we're looking to be your ends officers. Conferences is great, but we're looking to change up a few things about BOPs, but also non-BOPs.
So yeah, everything.
Yeah.
We want there to be kind of one piece of entertainment a week. So we also want stuff to happen in the college bar more, so you can go somewhere which isn't just a bar. So we're thinking karaoke nights.
Also pub quizzes. We know, those disappeared last year for some reason, but they were a lot of fun, so we're going to bring those back.
Open mic nights, but not just music, kind of stand-up as well, obviously not me, but poetry, and anyone's welcome, previously it's kind of just been a step that people who always do it, always the same, but it'll be kind of much more inclusive, nothing to be embarrassed about.
I'm sure you're wondering what makes us stand out. Some of my friends.
Best friends.
Good friends.
And people always say with events that it is a lot of responsibility and you have to wake up early in the morning to go to the wholesalers and things, but there hasn't been a morning at Oxford where I haven't wanted to be with Stevie, so that would be an honour.
I can be alone as well. Bob stuff we want to change up as well. I think we should address because that's quite an important part.
So we're thinking of having one good idea. A projector kind of behind the DJ, kind of playing an image, you can match the theme, you can choose your own image, it's kind of cool, parties and stuff.
Yeah, directly, decoration should be static. Another big part is the food. We all love pizza, but we think the food should also match up the theme a lot more. And there should be more of it.
Yeah, and if we do a joint box with another college, which almost done this ourselves, we think it's a really good idea, we maybe try and think about hosting it here, because that's a big space, and often it feels kind of depressingly empty. Or if we did do it at another club, do it on a Saturday.
Just some teasers for our themes as well. We have Meal Deal Bob, the Bob and Gangers.
We won't tell you
the ones.
Yeah. Like, if you've got any questions about the, you know, catch us in the bridge later, well, obviously you've got questions now.
As mentioned, we do now have 10 minutes of questions. Do we have any questions? Yes?
What actually happens with karaoke? Why is it coming back? Why was it always a thing?
That was what happened with karaoke. How do I know that?
Well, it's never been a thing as far as we're aware. As in,
Take it as open mics.
okay, so last year there were open mic nights and things, but you know, over the summer I went to China and I saw them and I had a really good time doing karaoke. I thought this would be fun. You know, a karaoke machine is £60, which is easy within the budget. And it's really good fun. And we created an event. You know, it would be a kind of we'd be more committed to it than previous attempts. And we ourselves, you know, would get up there and do it, and everyone would write it. And it would just be really fun.
Thank you very much.
And so unfortunately, karaoke night this term, we couldn't get GUD approval for that, as we thought it along the way. The issue with open mic nights is not inclusivity, anyone's welcome, it's the fact that people don't sign up. So we've tried our best. So we'd really like to make that kind of event happen, but unfortunately people in the JCR are sometimes quite reluctant to sign up to that kind of thing. But the things that we could do to make them more inclusive is by having drinks available, because usually they are in the bar. I mean, free booze gets anyone to anything. So as long as there is alcohol available, then people do tend to come. But karaoke night, I would definitely want to try and do that if we were elected. It's just a shame that we couldn't put it in this term, because I thought about it last week.
Thank you. Have we got any more questions? Yes?
As was asked of the treasurers, what steps do you suggest that you think you do to avoid a situation where a large amount of cash is lost?
So this is, what steps do you think you will take to avoid a situation where a large amount of cash is lost?
I won't put this on Bridget because she wasn't here. But basically, we had a load of cash when Izzy and I took over, and I wanted to get rid of it. And that's where the problems then started happening later on. Don't want to put any blame on anyone, but I got rid of the cash and disappeared from then onwards. But the idea is, and what I've been doing for the rest of the term, is getting rid of it. In the right way, that is. After each pop, I have been giving it to the treasurer by the Monday after pop. That wasn't happening years before. When we got the position, there was £700 in the ends cupboard. Money was stolen over the summer that was before we arrived here from the ends cupboard. They changed the system now, so now only the ends officers can get in there. But it hasn't happened again. I wouldn't let it happen again because we're not going to waste money on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I suppose just to reiterate what Harry said, the longer it stays with us, the more chance there is for incidents like the last one to happen. So we just wouldn't make that happen. We would give it back as soon as possible. Yeah.
Thank you. Got any more questions? Yes.
Should bops continue to be cash only, or could you move to a cashless system where you could use, let's say, a voucher or a card, just get a card reader or something?
That was about alternative to cash in bops.
As in paying for bot use and things?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the idea for us, and the whole thing that we want to work on it is, you know, making this a fun environment. I don't know if the question, do you take contactless ads to the night? But also, it's never too much effort, you know, to get £10 out. I mean, we could look at that, but as far as, I mean, obviously,
it's heavy, the coins.
I think to address your thing about the voucher, that doesn't really change anything. It just relocates where you'll be exchanging the cash because we would be getting them.
The coins in my pocket, they ruin the night for me.
Okay, well, I think that's just your problem.
No, he doesn't mean that, As in, yeah, we'll look into it, but ultimately about keeping it simple. Buying a cash machine is going to cost a lot to take all out of those JSON budget. We want to spend on other things, you know. It's not a cash, not a whole till.
It's easier to donate money at the end of the night to the GPDs, and we wouldn't want any situations to occur where people using a cash machine might like put in the wrong amount, get overcharged, undercharged. I think it's a little bit easier if we just watch it as a pound. So.
£1 looks very similar to £10, so you wouldn't want to wake up the next day with a £10 bill on your
Okay. Do we have any more questions? Yes.
Wait, so could you describe what the meal deal bot theme is? I'm not quite getting it, and could you give us a bot theme of this, please?
There's a question about bot themes. We'll start on the left.
So I had two ideas that I wanted to do. One was album cover artwork, and the other was musicals, because it hasn't been done for several years. At least I asked when it was last done, and so that would be, I think, my ideas. I think for you.
Yeah, I think the best themes combine both, you know, a good conceptual twist, but also little commitment in terms of costume. And the meal deal bot was born from originally a Tesco's bot, but we thought everyone's going to really think about meal deal. It's the perfect opportunity to come to threes. So often you have maybe more iconic deal or swap, but you know, how often are the numbers so precise? And this is more inclusive.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions for the candidates? If not, thank you to both sets of candidates. The candidate for Environment and Ethics Officer will now give a 2-minute test.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a second year. This is the second time I'm running uncontested for E&E Officer, so I won't take too much of your time. The big thing that I'm focusing on right now, and would like to continue focusing on, is divestment. You might have heard about that if you came to JCR meetings, but the big idea is that St. John's College has a lot of money, and they invest in a lot of places, and we just want to make sure that they're investing in the right places so that they don't invest in things like fossil fuels and companies which are bad for the environment. That's about it, yeah.
Thank you. Now, in a surprising turn of events, we have 10 minutes of questions for the candidate. Yes?
Have you changed your views on what the shape of a rocket should be?
So, we've actually, what we've been using is a genetic algorithm to try a bunch of different rocket head shapes and then simulating them all and then seeing what variations work. So, we don't know what it'll look like. It'll probably not look that different from what rocket heads we're used to, but we're open to see what comes out because in theory this can give us new things that we wouldn't have imagined.
So it's still going to be quite.
Probably, but I can't promise.
That was a question about shapes of rocket. Yes?
I don't need to call you out in any way, Anke, but has there been an EET this term? And if so, will they be carrying on in the future?
There was a question about has there been an ENET this term, and if not,
well, yeah.
Will it carry on?
Yeah, so that is on me. Coming into this role, I didn't realize that, like, I was not entirely clear about that aspect of responsibility. I'm trying to see whether I can do one. I mean, like, basically, I'll just get a bunch of vegan food, and then you guys can come to the JCR and eat it. And definitely, like, starting from next term, it'll be a more regular thing that's in the term card and scheduled on properly. So it is part of what me and the officer will do.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes.
Could you please list the ways in which you will be comparatively better than Ron at managing environments and ethics?
That was, can you compare yourself to
Ron's a great guy. We all know. Like, everyone here loves Ron. But, I mean, the thing is, he's running for every single position. Like, the guy hasn't shown a huge amount of interest in the role here. So, whereas I, right now, am like running for this position, so, you know, I'm not running for anything else. So, you can see that I'm really focused on E&E. Furthermore, I have a little bit more experience in this role. I'm not sure, has Ron won this role in recent history? I'm not sure. Well, I don't remember, but like, I have won the role in recent history, so that also is one thing that makes me slightly more qualified. But I mean, I trust you to vote for the candidate that you think is best. So if you think Ron will do the best job, please do.
Thank you very much. Any more questions? In that case, thank you to our candidate. Okay, we will now have a 2-minute cast from the International Students Officer candidate.
So I asked Ron to give a speech, but I don't think he qualifies as international, so I think I'm running pretty much uncontested. So basically, I am from all over. I have a Brazilian passport, I have an American passport, I've never lived in either country. I have lived in London, I've lived in Milan, Vienna, Almaty, Kazakhstan. My family's also from like Italy and Argentina. Basically, I am international, and I would love to run for a role as international officer. I absolutely love the international dinner that I attended, and I'm really excited in planning other ones. I would also like to get more involvement, just general involvement with the international community, because at the moment I'm aware there's a Facebook page, but that's about it. I don't know, I think it'd be really cool to have some events where other international students could like just be aware of each other's existence. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe run some more activities during Freshers Week to kind of limitize freshers, because I mean, coming from all over, there is a bit of a culture shock, and I just like to make sure that all the international students feel really welcome here. I mean, it is really welcoming, but like, why not improve something? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're now going to have 10 minutes of questions from the floor. We have a question from Alfie. Go.
Yeah, so international football is a great way to celebrate the international competition. Is there anything that you want to do in a more informal setting to celebrate international culture?
That was about informal as opposed to formal ways to celebrate international culture.
I feel like we could maybe have some international get-togethers, I don't know, maybe P&L room, something, yeah, a bit less formal. And obviously be open to everyone, not just international students, a way to maybe, we could have it themed so you could get to know another culture. I mean, maybe have a presentation about the culture, but I'm not really sure, like, I mean, I'd go more towards like the food perspective. I know, I think you get really good engagement if it's like, hey, this isn't like food from another culture, it's really good. I mean, food's everything. So basically, yeah, I'm totally up for more informal stuff, maybe once or twice a term. Just really, it depends on how many people are interested.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay.
Who do you root for during the World Cup?
Who do you root for during the World Cup?
Oh, it's really convenient. I mean, usually when one team drops out, I have at least another 4 to support. I mean, usually it's Brazil first, Argentina second, which is a bit awkward because they don't really like each other. Italy, US, but they don't win and stuff, so yeah, 4 countries maybe. I usually have something to root for.
Thank you. Next question. Yes.
I mean, obviously you're quite an international person, no culture for all around. What's the best way to cook it up?
That was, what's the best way to cook a duck?
Using heat? I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to guess it.
Very controversial answer there. Do we have any more questions? Yes.
Do you agree that Scottish students are international students?
Do you agree that Scottish students are international students?
I mean, do you guys pay international fees?
I feel no, nothing would make you pay international fees, so no. But this question still stands.
I mean, I feel like you're international.
I definitely feel like an
I don't feel
international.
like I should be imposing So, do you feel international is the question?
Absolutely, I hate it here.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes.
If you saw the email earlier today about storage, do you think you can do anything to make sure that international students have a little more space than 2 boxes to keep stuff over the backs because they gotta go quite a while and quite a ways?
This is a question about the VAC storage areas.
Okay, so yeah, I did see that post, and I think it's really important that international students do have enough storage and do have priority over home students, because what are we going to do if we can't put our storage in college? What do we do, swallow the box? I do not know. Yeah, I definitely think college should be prioritizing international students, because, I mean, for home students, most of it is like a drive away or a train ride away, as opposed to, I would not know what to do with my box because I literally have to fly home. So I would definitely be looking into talking to college to prioritizing international students.
Thanks. Any more questions? No, thank you very much. Each candidate will now have a 2-minute bust, starting on my right.
Hi, I'm Zoe, I'm the current women's officer, and I'm probably going to give you the most unconventional bust ever, because I don't want you to vote for me. So I actually applied for this position because I really didn't want it to go like welfare at the moment with no one applying, because I love this role and I'm working on some stuff with the MCR at the moment that I really didn't want to fall through if no one else applied, and I would be happy to do it for another term, but honestly I'm a finalist. I'm going to have to give it up at the end of Hillary anyway. It takes you a while to get into the role, and I know I'm strictly not allowed to endorse another candidate, but I would say I'm not endorsing myself. Don't vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I'll give 2 minutes to the other candidate.
I'm quite grateful for the facts because it means I don't have to, do much here. But I'm Dan, I'm a second year engineer. I'm just going through women's officer because I really appreciate everything that the women's officer Zoe and anyone before has put up. So I'm quite a big fan of the women's lunches. They're a nice treat after a 2-hour lecture series. You're going to get a free lunch at the end of that. It's quite a big motivation to keep going. And I want to keep that going. I know that Zoe's got some products lined up. So to avoid the speakers at the lunches, she's got festivals happening or events happening, which mean that if you want a speaker, you go to the event with the speaker. So it's not to dissuade anyone to come to the lunches, which I think is really great. And yeah, she's got a lot lined up, so I'm happy to work with her and the MCR was also alongside of that. So yeah, I'll just cut there. So thank you.
Ten minutes, questions, go. Yes?
Is one actually allowed to run for the
I don't think that's technically a question to the candidates, but sure. Is one allowed to run for women's officer?
I think by assuming the name Ron, you might be assuming their gender, so I don't know if that's easy enough. So I'd say yeah, if Ron identifies as a holding party, I think that's true.
Yeah, I fully agree, that is the definition.
There we go. Any more questions? Yep.
Would you try and organise events along with the MCR Women's Officer?
Would you try and collaborate with the MCR Women's Officer?
So we currently do women's lunches with the MCR women's officers already. They've just been newly elected this term and they're really keen to get more involved. And we're going to try and start up a new speaker series, which is going to be themed each term. We're thinking possibly doing a theme on sexual health, and both male and female students can come along to those, but they'll be run by women in order to keep it in the women's officer leading the way, but it's also an equality forum as well. But yeah, any more stuff we can do with the MCR is good. Plus we have a Facebook group now, which is with the MCR, which is always nice.
Yeah, I'd be keen to work with the MCR women's officers just because you can't really have enough support given to other people here. Women community is quite nice. So yeah, as Zoe said, anything that she's got lined up, definitely continue.
to both the